Alright. Hello and welcome to another divisional preview. This time looking at the AFC West. Gonna start off with the Broncos. This division holds my favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, neat division. Have high hopes for us, but yeah. Like and subscribe, blah blah blah. Mainly care about the D-line because I coach it and it's the only position. It's the best position too, so yeah. This team is pretty rough. I don't know how this dude still has a job. Um, but yeah, gave up so much for Russ and Sean Payton, but both deals are finished. It's kind of a rough team overall. Like Knicks is whatever, rookie quarterback. You have Stidham and Wilson, and they traded for Zach Wilson, which I think is fine. Like if anyone does anything with them, maybe it's Sean Payton. I didn't like Wilson when he was coming out. I thought he was kind of trash, but I don't know quarterbacks. Mainly a D-line guy. And Stidham's fine as a backup. Like the way he played with us, but just a backup. Javonte Williams has been okay. Like he runs hard, he breaks tackles, but doesn't do other stuff that well. And being a running back isn't just running hard and breaking tackles. Like it's about doing other things. How well you could press gaps, how well you could create space. And he just seems meh. There's a reason why they kind of got a couple of dudes. But Samaje Perine's cool. Third down back, could do everything. Estimate's interesting because he's bigger. He runs hard too. And I know he ran like a 4.7 40 or something crazy like that, but he does play more athletic on film. And I mean, I don't know, like he could play a decent amount too. And Jaleel McLaughlin is just a speedy change of pace dude. Also got some other dudes here, but I mean, it's a fine running back room. And then receiving wise, Greg Dulcich, third. I have no idea what happened with him, but he looked okay. And then traded for Troutman because of the New Orleans connection. Receiving wise, like Sutton's good. Josh Reynolds more that dependable, tough dude, could run block. Marvin Mims is fast. Ray Franklin's like MVS, where he's just big, run blocks, runs deep. Tim Patrick, I mean, I hope he's healthy. He's just never healthy, which sucks. But I mean, it's an okay receiving group. And then the O line, it's a bit rough. Like Bowles is good. Um, just more of that stronger left tackle. Like, yeah. Ben Powers is just like he's fine in the run game at that type of stuff. A pass blocking, he gets picked on a ton. Like even Jerry Tillery kind of sunned him, but he's a weak link for the guards. Doesn't too well in one-on-ones. Luke Wattenberg, I don't know how he's gonna do. Like is Mustafa gonna start? It's not a great situation. And then Quint Miners is good. He's probably the best O lineman on this team. And then Mike McGlinchey, I don't understand. Because he wasn't good. Like he's never been good. So I don't understand why he got paid so much. Like he's athletic. And that's cool and all. But it's never translated to playing tackle. Like he's one of those tackles where on his kick sets he'll get one good kick set, maybe one good kick set, and then turn his shoulders. So all you have to do is just bull rush him, or just speed of power, just anything, and you'll kill him. He's so like, I think the best way to put it is when he was with the Niners his last season when they played the Raiders against Max Crosby. What the Niners did was they slid his way, which means the guards helping over, and then they had a running back or a tight end that chip Crosby on the outside, and McGlinchey would still lose really quickly, which isn't great from a right tackle you paid like 18 million for. And it's the same thing too. Like against any good edges, you could try to give him help, but he still is gonna lose, especially against power. So I don't understand how he got paid so much, but he did. DB wise, it's yeah, kind of rough. Like Jones, Locke, whatever. I like Stearns in the run game. He popped off a bit. Wallace is fine. Like Moss and Damari Mathis. I don't know. Maybe they become something. McMillan looked nice as a nickelback. Same thing, he just looked nice in the run game. Certain, he's someone that could be the best corner. And talking with the corner, with the coverage poster dude, he just mentioned that Certain is really, really great. His issue that he wasn't as aggressive this year, which could be due to a lack of personnel, but yeah, had a couple of bad plays that you wouldn't want him to have. Yeah, this team's rough. Singleton's not that good. Like he's fine at getting to the ball carrier. Not that great in coverage. I don't even remember Cody Barton. Like I watched some of Washington's front seven, and none of the backers stood out except for their first round pick that they drafted. Blanking on his name, Jimin Davis. He stood out a bit, but yeah, the other dudes were just yeah, not that good. Sanders seen him play more edge than backer, which is kind of rough too. Just a rough front seven. Even for the edges, so like a lot of their edges are pretty small. They don't really have any size, which whatever. It's a 3-4 team. Some teams go smaller with their edges. They're not really there to set the edge or anything. Like if they pull your way, you just spill it, or just stuff like that. And then pass rushing wise on base downs, it makes it kind of easier to do blitzes and do crazy things, and to drop your backers in coverage because they are lighter and more closer to linebacker bodies. But it's still really rough. Like Cooper's nice in the run game. He could set the edge. Against pullers, he could take on those pulling blocks pretty well too. He kind of reminds me of that one Patriots edge, Anthony Jennings, where he's a bit smaller, a bit lighter, but he's still good in the run game. As a pass rusher, just more of a pocket pusher. Nothing really special, but could just do that. Baron Browning's easily this team's best pass rusher. His speed of power is pretty nice. Like he can win off the edge because he's quick enough, but yeah, like just having that speed of power, and then you could just take the speed of power and just win cleanly off the edge. That's nice. But the same issue arises where he's not good in the run game, so it's kind of hard to get him more snaps on base downs, but he can drop into coverage, so he has some value there. Nick Benito's pretty bad. Yeah, there's really not much with him. Like he gets killed in the run game as a pass rusher. He's not that explosive or to win off the edge consistently. Yeah, he's kind of a non-factor. It's why they drafted Jonah Alice, who's another smaller edge. Even Alice wasn't that good. Like he got killed in the run game, and as a pass rusher, like he's one of those dudes that PFF likes because he had a bag. But really, he just wasn't good enough to threaten guys consistently in one specific way, so he had to get a bag. Like his spin move's nice, but I mean, for a spin move to be even more effective, you have to be able to threaten tackles in a different way. Otherwise, they'll just sit on it and be more patient. And he's not athletic enough to be off the edge. He's not really physical enough to use speed of power or to use power. Like the spin move is nice, but you just need more. I don't know how he's gonna do in dropping in coverage, but yeah. Thomas Incoom played a bit, just a backup, and they have Lavelle Bailey. Fresno State legend. It's rough here. And the D lineman, I like Jordan Miller a bit, but I think he's more of a practice squad guy right now. But he can play nose. Play nose for SMU. Blackson's probably their only nose. Henningsen did fine with base blocks, but he wouldn't get the lockout or for run defense for playing through base blocks and stuff or any single blocks. You want to have separation, and he wouldn't do good at getting separation immediately. Took him some time. Wonder what his arm length is. Should have looked that up, but there's a couple times where he's losing or in a losing position, and he's able to bench press the lineman to create that separation, but it wasn't consistent. It's harder for him to shed blocks, but he could hold his gap pretty well. Malcolm Roach is a fine DT4 type dude. I mean, JFM could play inside and out. Like, he's probably going to be better. Like, I think he should play more edge. Like, give this team more of a true just edge setter. And as a pass rusher, like, he's a bigger guy, so bigger guys like to do the cross chop because they kind of like hop into it. You generate that space because you're almost head up with the tackle, and you hop the cross chop right as the tackle punches. And it's a good way to like stun the tackle because they're bigger, they're stronger. So when you hit the cross chop their hands down, forces the tackle to lean, club them, which kind of pushes them even more forward, and you rip through or however you want to do it. But it's usually what bigger ends do, and yeah, JFM does play more edge, just a heavy edge that can't play inside. But at the same time, it's like he might be this team's second best interior guy. And Zach Allen's just flat out bad. Like, that dude, that dude's so bad. I don't know. I haven't seen one good rep. That's how I feel when watching him. Like in a run, I don't know. Like in run defense, it's like it could be just that the overall team's bad, so maybe he's trying to make up for it. But like, he'll do fine at holding his gap. He'll just shed inside quickly or shed outside quickly, and the running back's like, cool, I'm just gonna take the gap you vacated. And it's like why are you doing that? And when he gets one-on-ones, he just doesn't win, or at least not consistently. Like, he doesn't force linemen into bad positions. It's just awful all around, even on stunts and stuff. Like, I don't know what it is with this team, but they sucked on stunts. You couldn't really generate pressure with that. It was just bad overall. Like, Zach Allen was horrible, and he got paid a big contract too. I mean, I don't remember his Cardinals tape that much, but I remember him being decent at the very least. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, it's rough. And this team's best D lineman, DJ Jones, it says he's gonna play nose tackle, which he didn't play nose tackle that much last season. He was more used as a 3-tech and stuff, and like, he's a smaller guy. So when he was with the Niners, he did play nose tackle a little bit, but it was more of a one gapping nose tackle. So he would slant into his gap, get upfield, and I think he could be used like that. Like, he's not like a true nose tackle where he's just taking on double teams and two gapping and all that, but he could just shoot a gap, slant across the center's face, do that type of stuff, and he's pretty good at it still. Even as a 3-tech, like, he'll slant across the guard's face and do the swim move over him. That looks really clean. So like, he can play that nose tackle. I think it'll be best if he's still like that 3-tech type guy, but then you don't really have a real nose unless it's Blackson or Jordan Miller. I forgot who their guy was last year. I think it was Mike Purcell, but he was nice as a nose. So yeah, it's kind of like, are you gonna play DJ Jones at nose? I don't know. And he was also their best pass rusher last year too, or best pass rusher from the interior last year too, because he's good at crossing and moving laterally. If you have him slant across the guard's face on a passing down and he gets a one-on-one, like, he just moves so cleanly. So that's good, but just a weird team. Like, John Franklin Myers is a good addition, but I don't think it fixes all of their issues. because their front seven is one of the worst ones I've seen last year. I think so far it's probably between them and the Cardinals for the worst ones, but at least the Cardinals front seven's fun to watch. Like I enjoyed watching them more than this team. This team is just bad. Yeah. Now the Chargers, right? Yeah. Got the Harbaugh in here, Greg Roman, Minter. They're gonna establish the run. Yeah, they're not gonna do any of that whack Brandon Staley stuff. They're gonna be real men here. Herbert, it's great. Yeah, talk about around Herbert's kind of weird too. He's a great quarterback. Like, just watch him in the pocket. That dude's one of the best QBs in the pocket. I feel like I have to transition to the O line next when talking about Herbert because he can make bums look good. Like he can make average players look like all pros. That's how good Herbert is. And I think people kind of just forget, like, yeah, his A dot's low, but it's like look at who he's thrown to. And his old linemen weren't that great at blocking. Like of course, like if you can't block for too long, and then you don't really have fast wide receivers throwing to Keenan Allen, who probably runs a 4.8 right now. Michael Williams, who probably runs a 4.7 right now. Like, yeah, of course, your A dot's gonna be low. And you're throwing to Austin Eckler, who runs like a 4.9. Like, yeah, come on. Oh yeah, Herbert, he's elite or great, whatever you want to say, but at least a top 5 QB. Easton Duggan, whatever. But for like the O line to get into it, like the all pick, that's a good pick. Like you get a dude who's more pro ready. Like technically he's good, but because he's like 6'9" and he's tall, one of his biggest issues is taking on power. Because when guys get underneath their chest and they drive you upward, you start playing on your heels, and that's hard to do. Like it means you're just gonna get driven back. And so like it's easier said than done to get better at anchoring down. But he's so big. It's a little hard to do, but he is more like flexible, so he could probably become decent at it. But power is gonna be something he's gonna get killed with at the next level. I thought Pipkins was okay. Like him as a swing tackle, like that's good. But he didn't like get killed as often as you would expect. He has some decent moments, but he's whatever. And then I'm gonna get to this bum later. Zaire, like he could play tackle, but he's not really athletic enough to play tackle. That's why he's playing guard here. He has kind of that bigger body, um, just physical, aggressive dude. Like, yeah, he's also not gonna be good in space. So yeah, but he did fine at tackle. It's just he's not a tackle. He was a guard playing tackle. Bozeman's nice, especially after losing their center Corey Linsley. Like you get a solid center here. Zion Johnson's been okay. Nothing too crazy with them. Like depth wise, it's whatever too. Like I like Pipkins as a swing tackle, as a depth tackle. Leatherwood, if they get anything from him, that'd be cool. He's bad. Like that dude's legit awful. Like just watching him on the Bears when he's pass blocking, he just loses. Like there's nothing there. He just loses. So hopefully turns his career around because by all reports and accounts, he's a good dude. So yeah, and then Slater. I don't understand the conversation around him because if you just watch him, he's not that good. Like I don't know, like Herbert makes him look so much better than he is. Because he gets killed with power. Like any sort of power. Like I've seen guys like Bryce Huff kill him with power. Um like Chandler Jones destroyed him in the games that they played. I mean, even Malcolm Coons killed him with power. Malcolm Coons is like one of the smallest edges, so it's rough. Like any sort of power kills Slater because he's a bit lighter. And one thing that he does do really well is play against speedier guys because he can match them, match their quickness. Like he's athletic, and so he gets his kick sets in, and he could create a ton of space from that to match those lighter edges. But because of that, it's easy just to beat him with power. But most of the time, it doesn't matter when he loses because you have Justin Herbert. Like he makes up for so much. Like I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to call Slater good because of how much he gets killed with power, but I'll just leave it at that. He's fine. But it's a bit odd because you get two guys who are gonna get killed with power. So yeah, and also Slater's not even that good in the run game either. Like Joe Alt's like looks nice, but Slater gets killed in the run game too because he is smaller. He has stubby hands. Like people think he's that good. Why? He's just a PFF merchant, just a Justin Herbert merchant. Who knows? But anyways, it's gonna be more of a gap scheme team because you have Greg Roman here, gonna do some crazy stuff. You have both Baltimore running backs. Hopefully Dobbins stays healthy because he was nice when he played, and then Edwards just more of that, yeah, physical, run hard dude. Spoiler's been nothing. Don't know who Vidal is, but I don't know. Maybe he's something. They signed Will Disley because he's a good blocker. Like he's a legit, really good blocker. And then Hayden Hurst, another former Ravens dude. If he's healthy, like he's solid, he could be an inline tight end. Arm is just tall and skinny. Yeah, and then receiving wise, it's pretty weak. Like Palmer might be this team's best receiver. Conky at slot receiver, that's gotta be racist. He's a boundary receiver. Yeah, but McConkey's fast, like he's athletic. Does win versus press decently. Johnson, like that was a bad draft pick. He didn't really do much well. Like yeah, he was super athletic, but when you're in the NFL, everyone's athletic. And he didn't really do anything at a high level. Like he didn't make contested catches that well. He did fine with the ball in his hands, but that was a weird draft pick. Gotta blame Telesco for that. But it's fine though. And Telesco we trust when we get to him. And even when open, like even in college, like he'll either catch like this or do this. It's like cool. Cool. And he was drafted and he kinda sucked. Shark isn't good anymore, but whatever. Davis is fast, Brennan Rice, whatever. Jalen Gill, a Fresno State legend. Is rough that he's here. Yeah, I don't know. They have Ben Mason, which is cool. Couldn't really play with Baltimore because they had Patrick Ricard, but I just don't know how to feel about this team. I know some people are high on the Chargers and their offense. I just think they're a year away. Like the O-line improvement's cool, like getting Bozeman and Joe Alt, that's really nice, but yeah, like you don't have Mike Williams or Keenan Allen. Because that was one of their biggest issues was keeping drives going because you didn't have a run game. So you had to rely on short passes, which lowered Justin Herbert's A dot. But now they're trying to build around the run game just so you could keep drives going. And Herbert's gonna save you because he's Herbert. He's that good. So I don't know. It could be fine. Like I wouldn't want to bet on this team, but that's just me. For the defense now, like Fox is cool. Like he gives you some pass rush. I don't know why I'm starting with the D line. Let me go to them last. DB room. I don't know about Loey Gilman. I know people like him. I don't know. I see them have a couple of bad reps in the run game, and yeah, but he did have some good reps in the pass game, so that's probably why people like him. Derwin James, yeah, not what he used to be. Fulton's whatever. Sarah Taylor's whatever. Drafted a couple of DBs. Asante Samuel's good. He's good in coverage, but he gets targeted in the run game quite a bit. H.E. Woods is a good special teamer. I think Junior Colston's gonna be more the Mike backer because he's not good in coverage. I think Henley's better in coverage. And Desmond Perriman's good. Kind of nice that he's back in with the Chargers. Raiders legend too. Perriman's issues is he's often hurt because he's smaller and he plays really physical. So that's why he gets hurt a ton. but like he's fine like zone dropping, and in the run game he's legit. Just goes like he knows where to go, and he goes 100 miles per hour. He's good at taking on blocks. Like he's just so good at just like fighting his way like through the trash and just avoiding blockers and all that stuff and taking on blocks. He's good. Like so good in the run game. It's so fun to watch him. It's like when he sees a ball carrier, he goes. And so it's nice to see him here. Fits with what they're gonna want to do. Um, but yeah. And now the edges, they only have 2 good edges. I'll get to in a bit. Don't care about any of these dudes. Dupree is at the edge. He's really nothing as a pass rusher. Like he can sort of push the pocket, but he's not as explosive as he used to be. Okay on stunts. And Bosa's not good. He's kind of bad at this point. Like when watching him, he just doesn't do well. Because what made him good was he was more of a finesse guy. But went off the edge and like he still has good hand fighting and could time things really well, but he's just so washed athletically that he can't really threaten tackles off the edge anymore like he used to. And when you're more of a finesse guy, you have to win it other ways. You can't really win inside because lower body's toast. He doesn't really go through guys because he doesn't play that physical and anymore. Kind of lighter. Like he was a lot better when he was playing in the inside more often, but yeah, like it's just rough. Like tackles are just more patient with them and just gets killed. But the good thing though is you have Mac and Tully, and Mac's still so good. That dude's still insane. He's still an edge 1 caliber dude. Like he's so explosive and fast and strong and physical, all of that. His long arm is still deadly. When he gets like lines up as a wide 9 and he uses the speed of power long arm, like good luck. But yeah, Mac is still that dude. And even in the run game, like he's still so good at setting the edge and doing all of that. You have Thule. Thule's good. It was only 22. I mean 20 TOO. But like he played at 20 years old. But Daddy's gonna be good. Someone that, like he was this team's best interior pass rusher last year. After Bosa got hurt, they couldn't really generate pass rush. Or had to find other ways to generate pass rush, which they put Tula in the interior, and he went off, and Tula was better than Bosa on the edge too, pass rushing wise. What makes him good is like he's also more physical, which is nice, just the way he threatens guys with that, and he switches it up by like he does win more with like physicality or whatever, but he's really good at using cross chops, that type of stuff. And on the inside, when he uses his cross chop, it looks nice, or like club and rips and all that sort. But yeah, like he has some really nice reps of doing that, or like push pull, like just more of that physical stuff. And when lined up on the inside, like he's so good at just crossing the guard's face and attacking that space. Because when you get a one-on-one, usually the edge guy gets upfield, forces the tackle to set, and then the center over slides away. So you get this guard, you're in a one-on-one situation. If they're setting it up for you. And so he's good at when he attacks outside of the guard shoulder, and he'll just plant his feet, hop across, and do club and rip, club crossface, or cross chop. So good at timing that down and just crossing the face of the lineman that just looks so clean. And yeah, like he's also a good run defender too. So that's nice. Bonia wasn't that good. Fox is just more of a pass rusher. It's a rough D line. Like Puna Ford's a smaller nose. There's a reason he's bouncing around from place to place. Like he's not that great. He's okay at taking on double teams and doing that, but when you're a smaller nose, it's just tough to do that for a while, especially like a smaller, like 2 gapping nose. Just Nick Boygby, he's Just more of a legit Bama dude. Like he's good on stunts. He's gonna be good at that type of stuff and playing through base blocks and single blocks, reach blocks, all that type of sort. He's more of like a 3 tech or like lining up over the guard. Um, yeah, man, this team's interior was so bad last year. It was awful. This team and the Broncos probably had two of like the worst just front sevens. At least this team had like legit edges in Mac and Thule, but it's just bad all around. Whereas the Broncos' only good player was DJ Jones, or I mean Josie Joel was kind of nice last year too. He played pretty well. Man, like I don't know. I would not bet on these teams. And for the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, things are looking pretty well. Mahomes, I mean, there's not much to say about him. He's Mahomes, Mahomies. I mean, running back wise, it's a bit weak. Like I do like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like he does fine as a zone runner and pass catcher, which I mean, they're gonna trust him a lot more since he's like the only legit back here. And then Pacheco runs hard and fast. Like he's not gonna be great at like pressing gaps or like doing all that fancy running back stuff, but you just say, hey, run here, run fast, he's gonna do it. So he's cool at that. Kelsey, it's kind of funny because like during the season you could tell Kelsey was just letting up. Like when he had to make a catch in traffic or make a catch when he's gonna get hit, he just dropped the ball. But then when the playoffs came, like yeah, he was making these crazy contested catches, making like tough grabs while getting hit, like running through, breaking tackles, like running hard, like saving it for the playoffs. Gray's nice as a blocker, more of an inline tight end. Jared Wiley was an inline tight end for TCU. Hope I'm not misremembering. Yeah, TCU. But he looked nice too. Irv Smith is just athletic. He's not good, but he's athletic. So yeah. Rashee Rice isn't sharing a cell with Henry Ruggs. Like he's good with the ball in his hands. That's why they threw him a ton of screens, but he's fine at the other wide receiver stuff. Thank you very much. You got another Fresno State legend. But he's a really good punt returner. Was like one of the best ones in the nation when he was playing for us. If Powell, Justin Ross, if he becomes anything after his crazy injury from college. Hardman's fast. Tony got all bad bony, but like yeah. He could be good if he wanted to, but he's too busy trying to be a rapper like Darren Waller. That's all I gotta say. Watson was this team's deep threat last year, and yeah. And Sky Moore is more just a slot receiver. Kind of a rough receiving group, but they got two guys that they brought in. Hollywood Brown. Crazy, that's Hollywood now, but he's fast. It's gonna stretch things open for this offense, and you got Xavier Worthy, who's also fast, also Central Valley legend, and he's gonna open up a ton of things. And like they got two really fast guys. And the good thing about Hollywood Brown is that Xavier Worthy doesn't have to be that team, like be the legit deep threat. Like he can get acclimated a bit more, which is nice for him. And Hollywood Brown, like this is a year for him to just play on a really good team and to just try to get a big contract after. But man, like that was one of this team's biggest issues, is that teams could just play too high on him and not be worried, or just play one high. It's like cool, like beat us deep, like try to do that. Because this team has a legit run game and it's still gonna be legit next year. And so we'll just play more for the run, play more for the short passes. Like that's kind of how the Raiders beat them. They're like, all right, beat us deep. Like we're gonna press Jack Jones. He's gonna bite on every screenplay you have, and we're just gonna attack you short. But with Ward and Hollywood Brown's gonna force teams to back off a bit, maybe play more too high, open things up on the inside and short areas. which is gonna open things up for Pacheco more in the run game, and for Rashid Rice if um, he's on the field. But yeah, or Tony if he tries and all that stuff. It was kind of funny though, but the line's still pretty nice. Jawan Taylor's fine. Gets to be inside a ton because he always oversets. Trey Smith's not good in pass protection. Like he's so stiff and doesn't move well laterally. So when he does get these one-on-ones, like he's just smaller, quicker guys are gonna beat him pretty easily. But he is strong and he's so good in the run game. Like as a puller, he just gives guys CTE. Like it's so scary to watch him as a puller. And on double teams, he's good too. Humphrey's really good. Um, yeah, like he's just really good at everything. And it's Tooney's this team's best O lineman. I mean, all I'm gonna say is Christian Wilkins gave him some work, and Tyree Wilson. But yeah, I mean, Tooney's really good. Like, there's not much to say about him. And it's a battle at left tackle between Wanya Morris and Kingsley Suamataia. So that's gonna be interesting. And like both of these dudes are more like athletic dudes that they're kind of more like projects because like Wanya Morris is athletic. Well, one thing he did a ton was he'll get one kick set and do a double hand punch. Which meant if all you did was like, alright, I'm rushing off the edge, he does his double hand punch, you just knock his hands away, he loses. And yeah, that's how he lost a ton. Was just because of that. He wasn't being patient or all that. He's being way too aggressive. So if they fix that part, he could be a fine enough left tackle. Like you don't need anyone crazy, especially when you have Mahomes. You just need your left tackle, who's going to be the weak point of this offense, just to be good enough. Like Donovan Smith was good last year, or like he was that good enough at the very least. Not like Hunter Norzad. He looked pretty well as a center. Liked him more than the other Penn State lineman that was taken in the first. And then Yanks, whatever. I mean, good old line. Like, it's gonna be such a good offense. The DB room, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, yeah, Chamari Connor had some nice moments. I think Josh Williams did too. Maybe it was Watson. I don't know, but like, you just gotta trust in Spags, and McDuffie's really good, really physical DB. I like Brian Cook too. It kind of sucks he broke his ankle, so I don't know how, if he's gonna be ready or whatnot. But he's so nice in the run game, just that running the alley, and just chasing down ball carriers, like, and even making tackles, like all that part. He's really, really nice at. Reed's good all around too. It was just a good safety duo, and they drafted Jaden Hicks to be the backup, and in case Brian Cook's not ready. But you are gonna rely on a ton of just like later round picks, which I feel a little iffy on. Even have Alvin Joseph, another rapper. That's crazy. But anyways, I don't know. Like you gotta trust in Spags, but I just still feel super iffy with it. What I don't feel iffy with is the front seven. This is nice. Like Cochrane's probably probably the worst linebacker, and he's nice. He's like he played good when he had to. Now it's cool, like more athletic, cool in the pass game. Just nice and run fits. Bowen's more of the physical dude that could take on blocks. And Tranquil's this team's best linebacker. He's kind of more of a Mike backer sometimes though. But like he's good at taking on blocks, good at run fits, and he was a former safety, so he's good at zone dropping too. Like if they play Tampa 2 and he's a like dropping back, like he looks nice doing that. He's just flat out good backer. It's just crazy they just got him for pretty cheap. And then the D line, Farrell's a nose tackle, but yeah, love it. He has crazy long arms, but he wasn't really good at playing through double teams as a nose tackle since he is more bigger. But he did good at getting extension because he has like crazy arm length. He did good at that. But yeah, when the double teams come, he'll get killed on it sometimes, and he's not gonna provide much as a pass rusher. But I do think he can develop into a a nice just run defender. Dickerson, he'd fine too. Like same thing, like good against base blocks, just reach blocks. Sean Warren was nice in one-on-one situations. Like he just cross the guard's face and just like a hump move or just strong club and rip, just that type of stuff. And he was pretty nice at it too. He's a bit more undersized, but still like he was nice. Mike Pennell's more of a true nose, bigger dude. Not he's his team's nose. He's fine. Like he could take on double teams, do that type of stuff. Blah blah blah. Like he's whatever. And then Chris Jones. I'll get to him next. DC dudes, whatever. Millie Carring is a bigger Ed. Just more of a like this team just has a lot of pocket pushers. Main reason is because you have Chris Jones, he's gonna rush on the inside. So if you give him one-on-ones on the outside, if you have both of your edges just collapsing the pocket, he doesn't really have an option to run out besides running up. And you have Chris Jones there who's gonna win his one-on-one, and yeah, just GG's after that. Yeah, that's why they got a ton of pocket pushers on the outside, and Herring's one of them, which he can do, could set the edge, do all that run defending stuff on the outside because he is bigger. Amenahue, same thing. He can also play inside too. They needed him to. He's coming off a, if it was an ACL injury. I was a bit surprised they didn't cut him, but he's probably gonna not be on the team until maybe like the midway point of the season. But he's also really good, just as a he's I think he was one of this team's best just run defenders on the edge. He plays really physical. Like there's some like really good plays with them. A couple times where a tackle tries to torque him outside, like on zone play, he just throws his hips and stays square. Like it's crazy stuff in the run game. He's so strong and physical. And when you're rushing too, like he's good at doing the power rushing stuff where it's just full speed of power. And his favorite move is a double swipe. He's good at that double swipe. It rips through. He's really nice. And also does a double swipe inside too if he's rushing as a 3-tech or whatever. Dano, same thing. You can play inside out. Kind of the same deal. I like Amenahue more as a run defender than Dano. But like Dano is nice too. Like pocket pusher, same thing. Does the same stuff. And then George Karlaftis, that dude's really good too. He's more athletic than these dudes. That's why like he's good at just chasing quarterbacks from behind and all that. Really physical too, and his speed of power is way more legit than Amenahue and Dana because he is a lot more quicker and explosive. And he just collapses the pocket like crazy. So yeah, you just have an like really great just pocket pushers. And then FAU, first round pick. This dude was probably my second favorite edge from last year's class. He's a bit more undersized, he's a bit more smaller, but what makes him kind of different is all the things you could do with them. I think he was kind of taken to be more of just that different chess piece. Because like just with me talking about these edges, it's the same deal. Like they're just the same player type for the most part. George K's a bit different. Like he's like the best version of it, but pretty much the same thing. Like you got guys that can play inside out. They're gonna push the pocket. FAU is gonna be the dude that could do more. And in college he played 4-eye a lot. And what that means is you have to take on double teams a decent amount, and he did good against them. Like he was pretty nice as a run defender early on, which is nice when you're undersized. I think he can become a really nice run defender because he's very strong for his size, has good technique. And as a pass rusher, he was really good in college. He's at beating you off the edge, hand fighting wise, doing all that type of stuff. If he had to use speed of power, he would. If he had to beat you inside, he would. Like he was good as a pass rusher in college. He wasn't asked to pass rush a lot, which was kind of a little annoying to be honest. But what he was good at though was on stunts. They used him on stunts a good amount. He's so good at just like trimming the fat off of stunts. Like he was used more as a looper because he had like bigger edges. So when they crash on stunts and like run into the lineman that he's lined up in front, when he loops around, keeps it so tight and close. He just doesn't waste any space, and he gets to the quarterback very cleanly. And he can drop in coverage too. Like they dropped him a bit, which if you're a smaller dude, like you got to be able to provide in different ways. So FAU's kind of like that chess piece that they could just move around and just do that type of stuff with, and that's been nice. They get a ton of one-on-one opportunities. A couple of times we was able to push the pocket and do it from like a wide 9, so we could build up speed. And that looked pretty nice. I mean, for the most part, like yeah, he didn't play much, but this team's stacked. Like this team had a lot of legit dudes. And not only that, but Chris Jones could play on the edge too. Like he played on the edge a decent amount, so it's just hard to get snaps for FAU. But I think he's gonna get those snaps next year. Like there's a reason why, even though Menu's hurt, they didn't do anything to really replace him. So yeah, pretty fun to see how he develops. And then Chris Jones, kind of same thing as Travis Kelce. He wasn't trying there in the regular season, or at least not in the run game. Like he'll like hold his gap or like play the run blocks extremely well. But then if the running backs like say like he's playing a toss play and he's running down the line, if the running back runs in front of him, he's not like diving at the running back. He's just like letting up. Like yeah, you could just go through. I'll let my backers take care of this. Or if like he's in a situation where he's holding onto a block and he could just reach out, dive for a tackle, he just wouldn't. He'll just stay there and just hold his block. I mean, it's fine though. Like, who cares? Like, you want him for the playoffs, and he does so good as a pass rusher. But I do think there's a couple of times where I kind of wish he just did more power stuff or like more bull rushes or anything like that. Like some linemen will just like be more patient against him because he tries to win like finesse or whatever with his athleticism, which he's really good and he'll win. But a couple of plays where if the lineman's more patient and they're like, bear hugging him, like what the Packers do, or I forgot what other team did that. I'm blanking right now, but just doing that like bear hug technique, they're able to stop him. But for the most part, like if he has such fluid hips that when he wins his pass rush move, whatever he uses, and when he flips his hip immediately, he's already pointed to the quarterback, and he just has a clean lane to the quarterback. And not only that, but he's also good at rushing off the edge too. Like he's a legit rusher. So yeah, he's so good. That dude's like he's probably the best DT now that Aaron Donald's retired. Yeah, that's just it too. Like he's just really good. There's not much to say. But yeah, I mean, I do think there's some issues with this team, like left tackle, back 7 or back 5. I mean, um, they have Kamal Hayden too. All right, but like it's the Chiefs. They're gonna figure something out until someone proves them wrong. And for a team that can prove them wrong, the Las Vegas Raiders. This is nice to look at. Patrick Graham's a really good DC. And Pierce. Yeah. I'll run through a brick wall for him. And we got Tommy T. Alright. Is Minshew or Aiden O'Connell gonna start? I would put money on Aiden O'Connell starting, to be honest. So with Minshew, he's good at more of like the backyard football type stuff, at making plays and all that, but he's not really great at being consistent or playing through pressure. It's why he's been a backup this whole time. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, like you've seen posts where it's like, oh, let's compare him to another QB. And it's like, well, yeah, like he'll get stats, but you know, stats don't mean much. Like you gotta watch the games. But yeah, so like, there's a reason why he's seen as a backup by the league. Because of that, like he is more of that backyard QB, extending plays, even that creative stuff, and he doesn't really do well keeping the offense on time and consistent. Whereas Aiden O'Connell can do that a lot more. Like O'Connell's more better in the pocket. Like he's legit good in the pocket and playing through pressure. And there's times where he just steps up in the pocket while he's getting smacked, gets a pass off, and stuff like that looks so nice, especially after watching Carr for so long, which that dude, like, you'll see someone coming at him, he'll just fall to the ground. It's so nice to think someone not be scared against pressure. And so I do think O'Connell's, I think it's more of a legit QB battle. Like I don't think it's like, oh, Minshew's gonna be the starter. Because Minshew was paid as a backup, and he was paid as a high end backup, which, you know, like yeah, like just need more QB talent, and we weren't gonna get it in the draft. I think this team kind of knew early on. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Telesco tried to trade up, but it was kind of hard to this year. Like for the top three guys, the top three teams were gonna take them. So it's like cool. Like you couldn't really trade up unless you gave up a ton, which I don't think you'd really want to do because this team played really well last year, and you have so much pieces that it's better to just try to compete than to try to mortgage your future for a quarterback. And like you could do it next season. Like if you need to, get the quarterback next year. And so I do think it's fine rolling with O'Connell and Minshew this year, which which is fine because the running or the offensive talent's legit. It's a it's a really nice offense. Zamir White's cool. He's like if Isaiah Pacheco was good. He's way more better at pressing gaps and just has way better vision. Also runs hard and physical, which is nice. And we kind of see what he did like the last couple of games when Jacobs was hurt. I think those games are kind of what made this team feel more fine for letting Jacobs go because like White was kind of legit. Like he looked nice. Yeah, he's not a special back, but like he's a good enough back. And then Madison's whatever. Like I know people hate on him, but he's fine. Abdullah's more of that third down guy. Like he's good in pass pro, good pass catcher. Nothing crazy, didn't lob. I think he's gonna be like the future Abdullah replacement. He's kind of similar in that vein, and Burton Brown's kind of similar to Brandon Bolden, where he's super unathletic but can pass catch and can do the pass blocking stuff. I don't know if they're gonna make the team or not. Tight ends, like Brock Bowers' choice was kind of funny. Um, but I mean, it's a Telesco special, like just getting the best players, and I don't mind. Like, sure, we could have gone a cornerback or whatever, but like, it's Brock Bowers. Like, why not? Other tight ends or whatever, but like Michael Mayer's good. He's a good inline tight end. Made some tough catches. He's a pretty nice blocker too. So that's gonna be really nice to have. So if we do run with two tight end sets, Bowers doesn't have to play inline. Like Mayer's like a legit inline tight end, and then Bowers could be more of that F tight end or just move him around and do crazy stuff with them. Um, and yeah, one thing I have seen from Raiders fans is like they're like, "Oh, you drafted a tight end in the first round, like he's got to get this amount of yards to be worth it." It's like no, like we have so much talented players like Michael Mayer, Bowers, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. Like, yeah, if he doesn't get 750 yards as a rookie, like who cares? Like stats don't matter. What matters is how you perform. And it's like we're not gonna have a. I don't think we're gonna have like a crazy pass game. I mean, we have Minshew or O'Connell starting. I'd like. I'm fine with. But it's not like we're gonna throw for like 5,000 yards with this team. Which if you're throwing for that much means you're losing a ton. So yeah, definitely don't want that to happen. But Bowers gonna be so nice and like gets you like doing tight end screens. You want to do tight end screens with someone? That's your guy. It's gonna be so fun to see how they use him. Hey, Tucker's fast, good as that deep threat and gadget guy. Guidance kind of the same thing. Gallup was kind of interesting signing because I think he can be like he's more of an outside receiver, which I think it's fine to do because Myers can play outside and inside. Adams, same thing. Tucker's more like gadget guy, deep threat guy. Just having other just legit boundary receivers cool. And then Brock Bowers is kind of like a slot receiver too. So yeah, just getting another legit outside guy. Turner's a special teamer. Wilkinson's a special teamer. And then Myers is good at just in a slot boundary receiver. Like he's just good. Adams, one of the better wide receivers in the game. Just elite, like really good at beating press, really good route running. Like, yeah, we know what he is. We know what he's about. For the O line, I think one thing I think this O line's getting kind of underrated. Because I do think we have like 7 legit starting caliber dudes. Munford's probably the worst one, but even then I could kind of like Munford. He's nice in the run game. He's able to get low and does pretty well on double teams. He doesn't have crazy like range in his kick sets, but he does fine enough. Did pretty well in the Chargers game last year against Mac. Miller's good. Like, you know, he's always gonna do the same thing: outside hand low, inside hand high. Like yeah, you could beat him if you just knock his hand down or whatever. Like he usually loses in the same way, but whatever. Like he's good. He's consistent. JPJ is a cool selection. Moving from center to guard, but he did kind of look more like a guard. And he's a lot bigger, more physical, so that's a nice thing to have. Pretty nice in the run game. James is fine. Like he's not crazy as a pass blocker, but he does fine picking up stunts and all that. Okay in the run game. Parham kind of surprised me. The second half of the season, Parham looked when McDaniels was fired. Yeah, a lot of his team played better when McDaniels was fired, but Parham looked nice. Like the one game I remember the most is the one against the Colts, because he had a ton of one-on-ones against DeForest Buckner and like Grover Stewart and those guys, and he held his own, which was crazy. The old Parham would have just gotten killed. Like O'Connor would have gotten sacked like 5 times, but last year, like that Parham was doing really well. Because he's a bit smaller, he can get killed with power. Like he would just get destroyed with power, but he does better anchoring down now, at timing that down. Did better being more patient. And yeah, like even the run game, he's not gonna be great at like doing gap stuff, like base blocking dudes and get movement in the run game. It's not really his thing, but I think he'll be nice in his zone as a zone blocker, which is what Getsy kind of said. Wants to use him more or do more zone stuff. Which is what he did with the Bears. I think that'll be nice. Like Zimmer White could do that. What makes him different than Pacheco. And then like Andres Pete's another dude that could play. Like he could play tackle and guard, and he's nice too. Whitehair could play center and guard. It's kind of iffy as a center. Like his snaps are iffy, but like he looked fine enough, like a borderline starter dude. And then we have DJ Glaze as a swing tackle, or as a feature swing tackle. Yeah, like I know like after like the borderline starting left tackles were taken, I think Rosengarten was the last one, or the Kingsley Somataya might have been the last one, but after that was when the next group of tackles were there, and they're just more like a bunch of swing tackles. So Glaze was one of them. We took him before we lost out on him. Like whatever, a whatever pick. But yeah, I mean, so Jordan Meredith, Ben Brown. Like it's such a nice O line. It's not crazy talented, but just the depth is so nice. Like that's the type of depth that like most teams don't have, and for us to have it is good. And like if Parham, I don't know, like if he doesn't do that well, and we have JPJ here, like we have Andres P here, or I don't know, like there's so much ways you could configure the O line if you need to. Like yeah, like the offense is just nice. I'm excited. And Aiden O'Connell year 2. And for the defense, like the secondary is gonna be the weak point. Jack Jones was nice with us, was more of that aggressive DB. Made some really big plays for us. And yeah, he's cool. Jacorian Bennett, like the other boundary cornerback spot's gonna be iffy because it's gonna be between Bennett, I guess Fashy Son, even though he's more of a special teamer, and Decorian Richardson, who all have like really long arms. And also more physical. Like Bennett, what made him nice was that he was a willing tackler. Like in the first Broncos game last year, like he kind of made a couple of plays in the run game for us. But he was pretty inconsistent in pass coverage and blew a couple of plays. But like the talent's there for sure. Something with Decorian Richardson. And Ferguson's just a special teamer. Like he's tall, big, not super athletic anymore. But Sam Webb play inside out pretty decently, and Nate Hobbs is such a good nickelback. One of the better nickelbacks in the game. He is so good in the run game. And I like the safeties a ton. Like Epps and Morik are just really a really nice duo. Like it's crazy watching film because it's like they just are solid. Doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement, but that's good. Like you just want guys that don't stand out. Um, like if you do stand out, most of the time as safety, it's because of you doing something bad. Like they're both good tacklers. Do good at chasing the ball carriers down. Do good enough in pass coverage where like I don't notice a ton of mistakes from them. So yeah, like Epps is really good at playing in the box too. Isaiah Polamalu is kind of more of that in the box safety. Chris Smith, whatever he is, would be cool, but I mean, I just like this safety room. And then for linebackers, like Robert Spillane was such a nice addition. Um, like he's good in the run game, taking on blocks, being super physical. Like he just same thing. He just goes. I think the difference between him and Denzel Perryman is he's a bit bigger, has a bit more mass. I don't know why he says he's a Will backer. He's a Mike backer, but he's good in zone dropping too. Like he was good at it with Pittsburgh, at even the zone dropping type stuff, which Pittsburgh like it's all they do basically. Masterson's good in coverage and some special teamers here. Eichenberg is interesting. I think the reason why we got Eichenberg is because we needed just a backup Mike backer, someone that could take on blocks. Because Masterson's just a coverage guy. Diablo's small, former safety. These dudes are smaller and just special teamers, so Eichenberg was kind of a nice addition. And he could just, develop whatever. And Diablo was kind of nice too. Like he's a lot better in coverage. Like he's pretty. I don't want to say like I don't want to use adjective good too much, but like he looked good to me. And he's good at just like scraping over and blocks if the runs away. He's good at just doing that type of stuff and just avoiding blocks and just filling in the right gap. Like he's just good at it. Like Spillane as a Mike is good. Diablo as a Will is good. Like that linebacker duo. For the D line. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. I like Ron Stone a bit. I think he can make the team. Kind of just more of a power rusher, like that type of dude. Yeah, wearing 76. I like when he used like speed of power bull rushing. It looked kind of nice. Like played pretty well versus Washington tackles who both were drafted high. Did nice in the run game. Like I just think he's good enough to maybe make the team. Like Snowden, Alex Smith, whatever. Robinson did okay. Nothing special about him. He's good on stunts. I'll get into the starting edges in a bit. But for our DTs, McCall is just big. That's a Jade Silvera's a nose tackle. He played fine. Butler's kind of that smaller DT. He would have to be more of a pass rusher and all that. And then Byron Young, former Bama guy, like he's good on stunts and like on single blocks. And we have John Jenkins, Adam Butler, former Dolphins, who did play with Christian Wilkinson. Or Christian Wilkins, I don't know, I said Wilkinson. I think too much of the wide receiver dude. But yeah, so Butler and Jenkins played with Christian Wilkins. And like Butler and Jenkins were good on stunts and doing all that type of stuff. Jenkins is more of a nose tackle. Butler is shaded over guards. But they're both good in the run game. And Butler's really good at just moving around, being a crasher, all that type of stuff. Like he's not gonna win one-on-ones or anything like that, but just using him as a role player, he's good at. Jenkins too. Even though he's a bit bigger. I really want him on passing downs, and then Wilkins is so nice. Like Crosby, Wilkins, Kuntz, Tyree Wilson. I'm excited. So I'll get to Tyree Wilson in a bit, but Kuntz developed a ton. Like he was a good pass rusher with Buffalo, but he couldn't see the field that much because he just couldn't provide much. Like he just needed more. And this year or last season, he became a solid run defender. He went from like unplayable run defender to solid within a year span. So that's really nice. That's why he played a ton. He played like 80% of snaps or something. Because as a pass rusher, he's good, and he was good. Had a lot of good moments. He's not like special as a pass rusher, but he's just like good. Like he could win off the edge. Had some like speed of power stuff and all that. And so he's gonna be really nice. because we gave him a few one-on-ones, especially after Chandler Jones went crazy, who was supposed to be the other guy opposite of Crosby, but Coons filled in really nicely. And then it's kind of hard to know who to talk about. I'll talk about Tyree. I'll get into a bit of a rant because I think people were hating on Tyree too much. Like, he's not going to be a crazy pass rusher, but you don't take him. He wasn't taken to be a crazy pass rusher. He was taken to be the eventual Chandler Jones replacement, a dude that you could play on early downs. That on passing downs, you could use him inside, you could use him as a power rusher, pocket pusher. Like, there's ways you could use him and that he could contribute. Like, he's not going to be there just for one-on-one wins. Like, that's what you have Crosby for. Crosby's your one-on-one winner. You just want someone that could play off of him, that could do things that frees up Crosby more. And that's what he was taken for. And he came into the season hurt with a hurt foot. All they asked him to do was just stutter bull for like the first half of the season, which sucked because like he was doing against Bowles and Dion Dawkins. Like, you don't want to stutter bull against these dudes. Like, it was easy for him. But he came into the season as like a good run defender. Like, he was legit good off the bat. And toward the second half of the season, he was used more on the inside. He was used more on stunts. He was used more as that. And there's a couple of reps where he does use like speed of power, and it looked nice. So I'm a little excited to see how that's gonna look next season when he is healthy. I did think his hand placement was a bit too high at times, where because he's taller, so he's not as used to it. Where if you want to get more drive on linemen, you gotta play more underneath guys and drive them up and away to get them on their heels, to get them harder for him to anchor down. Where sometimes he would just put his hands out instead of getting under. Just a small difference, but when he did get underneath them, it looked good. And yeah, so line up inside on pass rushing downs, be the crasher on stunts, which he looked good at too. So yeah, there's a few times where they use like Butler and Wilson as a crasher on stunts, and Crosby looped around, or Wilson crashed, Butler looped around. Like, there's so much different ways you could use this D line. And you got Christian Wilkins, so yeah. So I'm probably gonna go on the other end too. In the Hard Knocks series that came out recently, I know like one of the dudes, I think the Giants GM was the one that said it, where he was like, "Oh yeah, Christian Wilkins isn't really a difference maker on third downs." He's not wrong. I think what he meant was more as a one-on-one pass rusher. Like, Wilkins is fine. Like, he does okay on one-on-one pass rushers. That's not where his game is. Like, he's an elite run defender from like 3 tech, and shaded over guards, even over tackles if you want him to. Like, he's an elite run defender there. But where he made a lot of his money, and like I know he had like a lot of pressures on third downs or whatever, is because he's really great on stunts. Like, what they would do a ton is a lot of tackle stunts or tackle end stunts with Wilkins. And when it was him and Zach Sealer on the inside, when they ran the tackle stunt, it was like it's hard to stop. Like, they were so good at it. They're so good because the guy. So with the O line, like, you have the center over. So if the center over slid one way, and then the guard has a one-on-one with the tackle, what they would do is that guard or the tackle that's over the guard with the one-on-one, he would crash inside. So that way the tackle on the slide side that loops around, he's free because the guard's gonna chase that dude. It's more like a man-on-man blocking, and since they're like zone blocking this way, they're not gonna come back and block the dude that's looping around. And they would do it to where they would take like 1 or 2 steps upfield, see what's happening, and then they would do the stunt. And yeah, like, it was just, and like Butler's good on those stunts too. So having Wilkins and Butler do that's gonna be really cool. Um, and then like Wilkins can also play contain because he is pretty athletic. Like, there's times where he would do that stunt, tackle and stunt with the edge, would crash down, he'll loop around. Like, he just do stuff like that too. So yeah, he's gonna be so good at that. Like, sure, one-on-ones it's gonna be whatever, but stunts gonna be deadly. It's gonna be so nice because he's better at it than Butler and Jenkins. Like, he's way more physical. And then when he's a looper, he's like so good. Like, he leaves like no space. He's just so good at just like looping around, planting his feet, and just getting upfield to the quarterback. And yeah, like, it's gonna be nice for that. But just here to say, yeah, he's not a difference maker as a pass rusher, but he doesn't need to be. It's fine. Like he has his role that he's gonna do at a high level. That's why we signed him. That's why we paid him all the big bucks for. And Crosby's elite. That dude's great. My opinion, he's the second best pass or second best edge rusher in the league. But he's at least in the tier below Myles Garrett. But yeah, like that dude's really insane. Like as a run defender, there's not much to say. Like he's gonna play like 99% of snaps. He's gonna go all out. As a run defender, he's elite, probably one of the best in the league. Like he goes crazy. As a backside run defender, when teams try to run away, like teams run away from him. I don't know what the stat was, but it was like one of the highest rates of teams running away from an edge rusher, and it was him. He was like top league. It was a crazy stat. And because like you just don't want him to mess up your run game, so you run away from him. And then teams would like have someone pull on the backside, and he'll just get over it and just chase it down. And if you don't have anyone to account for him, he's just gonna chase it down from behind. He's so good in the run game. And then as a pass rusher, he's really good too. He got smarter as a pass rusher. Like there's a couple of games where it's like he's doing the right things. One of his biggest issues was he's kind of a dumbass. Like all he would do is like double swipe outside or spin move inside. And it's like cool. Like the tackle oversets to where he creates some space inside. He'll spin inside even if that was a slide side, which meant the guard was there to help. It's like cool. Like he did nothing. Like good job. But there's a couple of plays where like that happened where trying to rush off the edge. You have inside help, maybe a backer or tight end chipping outside. So the only way to go through is through the tackle, and he does it. Got a couple of sacks off of it, like the Vikings game. So like if he becomes a smarter pass rusher, that's gonna be interesting. But like when he does do his double swipe outside or whatever, wins outside, when he flips his hip, his lower body's so strong. Like sure, he's not bendy, but bendiness is overrated. Like he has such strong hips that when he flips it and gets to the top of a pass rush, he turns a corner, he just explodes through because he's so strong that when tackles try to drive him inside the pocket, it doesn't affect them. And he's able just to run full speed at the quarterback and chase him down. Like his second gear when chasing the quarterback is just top notch. So fun watching him in pursuit of quarterbacks. And they use them more on stunts and loops too to free him up, which was nice. Like there was one play with Butler was like the 1 tech, Tyree Wilson was a 3 tech, and he was lined up outside. So they had Butler crash, Tyree Wilson try to hook the guard's arm, and then Crosby just looped around against the Colts. And yeah, like doing stunts with like Crosby and Wilkins will be so interesting. Like man, I'm just so excited for next season. A Raiders fan, I can't wait. I have high hopes for this team, and by high hopes, I just mean we'll win between 7 to 9 games, which has been my prediction like the last 10 years. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll up it up a bit. Say we might win between 8 to 10 games, but nah. AFC is tough. I mean, if you want me to rank these teams, I like the Chiefs the best, Raiders second, Chargers and Broncos. Like for bad teams, like Patriots are probably going to be bad, Broncos are going to be bad, and it's like Steelers might be bad, Titans might be bad, Chargers, and every other team is just like good. Yeah, really rough conference. But if you're here this far, like and subscribe, blah blah blah, and yeah, thank you for watching. Peace. Boom.